And everyone, it is the 2nd of October. I hope you are doing super because the market, or rather the price action or the movements in the markets, are suggesting huge volatility ahead, especially with the escalation between Israel and Iran. We do have the ADP non-farm number to be released later tonight, and JOLTS jobs openings was released at 8.04 million, a little bit higher than expected last night. So we'll look into all that and any possible trade setups to come. But first, alrighty, I am back. I hope you can see me okay, hear me all right. A little bit late to be asking that. If you are on the session, do remember, drop a message, say hi, let me know where you're joining us from. I would always love to find out. And if you have any questions at any point in time, please feel free to put it into the chat and let me know. And you can help me out massively by remembering to click on that like and subscribe button. Okay, let me just check that everything is streaming okay. Yep. Okay, fantastic. So, what do we have coming up? Or what did we have from before? Let's look at what happened in the markets since the last time we spoke. All right. First up, when it scrolls back, okay, we had after our session yesterday, the Euro CPI flash estimate year on year, it was 2.2. It was expected at 1.8, got released at 1.8. Core CPI flash estimate year on year was 2.8, expected 2.7, got released at 2.7. So all came out pretty much as expected. Didn't see too much craziness on the euro dollar. But what we did see at 10 p.m. GMT plus 8 was the JOLTS job openings. It was a 7.67 mil, expected 7.71. Oh no, revised up to 7.71, expected 7.64, got released at an 8.04 million. Slightly better than expected. And what we saw as a result of that on the dollar index front, right? This was right after our session. It came up, it sat around that point. It continued pushing up all the way to 10 o'clock, where I'll zoom in a little bit. I'll move this arrow, right? You'll see that it shot down first, or it shot down and then back up again because of firstly the ISM manufacturing PMI. It went down, or it stayed at 47.2, still in that contractionary phase. Then after that, we at the same time we had the GOTS jobs openings as well, and then we saw the dollar index sit in that doji before continuing up to our target level at 101.40, right? Just below 101.40 before now consolidating again. Two big reasons why we are seeing the dollar push to the upside. Firstly, the JOLTS jobs openings number, we're seeing slightly more jobs openings in the US economy. And secondly, like I said earlier, the escalation in the conflict between Iran and Israel, where I think you guys have seen the news. We've seen the escalation. I'm not going to go into too much about that, which is likely to have caused a slight move towards reserve, such as the dollar, right? We saw the dollar push up, such as a slight increase in demand, a slight increase in demand on the yen, a reserve currency, like a move, a big strong move towards safety on gold as it broke above that bearish trend line and pushed right up to 2671, right? A move towards reserve on currency, the dollar index, a move towards reserve on the yen, and also a move towards reserve on commodities on gold. So we saw that pushing up. Now, with all that, come back to the dollar, right? So that was what happened since the last time we spoke. We saw JLTS jobs openings. We saw a move towards reserve because of an increase in the escalation between the conflicts. And then also for today, later on, we haven't had much since before this session, right? I'm not too bothered about everything else, all the way to the ADP non-farm employment change number to be released later tonight at 8:15 p.m. GMT plus 8, where we're looking at it likely to go from a 99K to a 124K, right? From a 99 to a 124K. If this is going to be a slightly stronger number because of what we saw in the JLTS jobs openings, we might see this maybe about that 130, 140, maybe even 150 number that could reinforce that strength on the dollar index, pushing it slightly to the upside again. Especially if the conflict continues to heighten concerns globally. Okay, you're seeing right now as well, gold, right, had that plunge, well, not plunge, had that drop. I did a quick scalp on that, was sharing that on the Discord channel. Right after it dropped, it's now pushing back up again, right? Again, a lot of, it looks like, based on the price action, it looks like there's a lot of activity, a lot of move towards reserve. As much as gold is trying to push down, it's still climbing right back up. And this is where the correlation between, the inverse correlation between gold and the dollar sometimes can go out of whack, right? What I mean by out of whack, sometimes it can be out of correlation, not correlated, when everyone is either buying the dollar up and also buying gold up as a flight towards reserve. Make sense so far? Put it into the chat and let me know if it makes sense. If you have any trades that you want me to look at as well, put it into the chat and let me know. In the meantime, good morning, Richard. How are you doing? Hey, Jumarinas. Hey, Noachuku. Good to see you. Good morning. Now, with all that, that's the ADP non-farm news we're going to be looking at later tonight. We have OPEC for today and crude oil inventories later as well. It looks like minus 4.5 to minus 1.5. It looks like inventories might be lower, which could bring about some strength on oil, which could again bring about some strength on the CAD. We'll look into that. And then through to tomorrow, big reminder, Chinese still on a holiday, National Day holiday, Golden Week. German bank holiday, we have the Swiss CPI tomorrow to be released. It looks like month to month might be at a 0 to a minus 0.1%. And then unemployment claims and services PMI for tomorrow. I'll tell you more about that tomorrow. And then on Friday, end of the week, is the non-farm employment change number for the US. It's going to be a big news event. We will be trading live on that event together for elite navigators on the YouTube membership. So if you haven't already, click that little join button and join us on as an Elite Navigator. Okay. Hey Casper, how are you doing? Good morning. Hey Stefan, good morning. Hey Diana, how are you doing? I'll catch up with you soon. Hey Diana, by the way, I dropped you a message on Discord. That's not an imposter. Go check it out. Let me know on that. I'm not asking for anything else. Just a quick message there. Cass was asking any thoughts on Aussie yen, and it's nearing the 100 mark again. So we'll look into the Aussie yen shortly. And yes, I can look at Aussie Swiss franc. No worries. Now, with all that, we looked at the fundamentals already. So let's look at the dollar index. Right. Rightio. Here we go. Dollar index pretty much moved as we had expected, slightly spot on where it pushed up, tested this 101 level briefly before trading up to that 101.40 level. Now, I'll take that away first. Now consolidating just below that area. Let me extend this, or consolidating within this resistance area, which we saw it reject on the 19th of September. We saw it come in and reject on the 23rd of September. It looked like it tried rejecting on yesterday, on today. Now, looking to see what could happen next. Okay, so that one's done. It's gone up to 61. I'll take that away for now. And I'll apply the fib levels right up to this point here. You see that the level we identified at just 101 coincides slightly with that 38.2 level. Okay, so let me see this. All right. Now I'm looking at this. Okay, so what I'm seeing here on the dollar, I'm not surprised. I would not be surprised if, because that was, since yesterday we pretty much started the day on Tuesday right at midnight, right at this point here. All right, 100 dot, where are we? 100.60. Let's just say 100.60. It went all the way up to 101.40. There could be some retracement, so I'm not surprised if it does come down towards 101.10, 10110, before possibly pushing back up, testing this level again, and then pushing higher once more. All right, let me see. Test, looking at that. About that point there. Could do that and then push back down again. So I'm looking at something like that. All right, so for me, what I'm anticipating on the dollar would be 2nd of October. Dollar index is consolidating, could retrace to 101.10, which is that 23.6 level. Yep, 23.6 level. Oh, what am I doing? Okay, but ultimately I'm looking for it to break above 101.40 and possibly trade up to looking to break above 101.40 and trade up to 101.80. Right, so could retrace back down. I think it's going to bounce around a little bit that way and then trade up to 101.80. Diana says EuroCAD worked perfectly. Fantastic. Super happy to see that. Again, not something I got into. I got into the pound yen I was sharing with you all last night. So I'll show you that shortly as well. Okay. So that's what I'm looking at on the dollar consolidating. Could retrace down to 101.10, 23.6 level. Looking for it to break above 101.40 before it could trade up to 101.80. Okay, very importantly, I'm looking for it to stay above 101, 100.90 to maintain bullish. Okay, there we go. So now we're seeing this. If you look, those of you who like patterns, right, we're seeing this push up and then that rectangular consolidation. So we're looking for that breakout to the upside. This might even be slightly wider that way. Okay, there we go. That makes sense. Good. So that's a bit of a pattern to the upside. Take that one away. All happy with the dollar index, the view on the dollar index? Let me know what you think. Then, as you type that in, we'll look at the Kiwi dollar. All right, Kiwi dollar did somewhat quite well, if that makes sense, right? Because it pushed right down, it tested and it broke that 61.8 level, that previous low, and it broke lower down to about 26 pips into profit before it was way outside of the Bollinger Band. And then that's why you would want to close out of your trade. If you didn't, it comes right back in, give you a second chance to close out a trade before it would have gone up and hit your stop loss. Okay, so we'll take that away for now. I don't need that 61.8 there, but I will pay attention to this point here. Okay, now if you look at this trend line on that, it's still reasonable if I catch this 2 points this way. Okay, now you're looking at this on the Kiwi dollar to push to the downside because we are expecting dollar strength. We're expecting dollar strength to push up. Well, the dollar index to push up on dollar strength. So we're expecting this to trade lower, the Kiwi dollar to trade lower. The main thing, let's have a look at this overall move up, is that I would take that one away and consider that point there now. 38.2 is there. Okay, so what I'm looking at here is if it can come down again, break that, sounds like yesterday, right? Break that trend line, break that 38.2 level, we could see it trade lower down to 6243 and possibly even down to 6210. I kind of like that area a little bit more than that 50% level. All right, so that's what I'll be looking out for on the Kiwi, is that if we can go below 6265, I'm going to give you a bit more space. 6265. Stop loss would be about 20 pips. Take profit would be about 55 to the downside. BNZ are expecting 50 basis point rate cut from RBNZ. 50 points rate. When is it? Let me see. When is the? Oh, okay. So that's on Wednesday. I'll be in Dubai during that time, so we could do a live. Well, it'll be 9 a.m. Will be 5 a.m. and I'm not going to do a live stream during then. I wouldn't be very good at 5 a.m. on a live stream. If they do start pricing in a 50 basis point rate cut, that will be very good to support the move to the downside on the Kiwi dollar. So that'd be good. But that's on Wednesday. That's on Wednesday next week. We're on are we on Wednesday today? Yeah, we're on Wednesday this week. So it's a whole week away. We have non-farm to come. We have a whole weekend of possibly craziness to happen. So we'll leave that till next week. But for now, I think that we could be looking at that. So 6-2. But thanks for pointing that out, Naren. Thanks for that. But for now, I'm looking at 6-2, 6-5, 20 to 55 to the downside. All right, 0.6265, stop loss 20, take profit 55 to the downside. Hey Lingopedia, how are you doing? Hope you're well. That's good. Then on to Aussie dollar. Pretty much the same thing. Now if we extended this up, okay, so the Aussie dollar came down, didn't bounce up, broke down, came down at 20 something pip, almost 30 to the downside before it pushed right back up again because it was outside the Bollinger. You guys, if you haven't already, please try it out. You might not like the lines on your chart. You might think it's too squiggly and it's messing your chart up a little bit. But I've used it for years and years and years. I can't go on enough about the benefit of having that Bollinger there to tell you when it's too late to get in or when it's a good time to get off a trade. Try it out. If you hate it, let me know and then remove that. But try it out. I do think it is going to be quite helpful. Okay. Now on this, I'm just thinking, do I need the channel? I don't need a channel. I'll take that away. Right, and you can just toggle it in and out. When you're trading, toggle it in. When you're not, toggle it out just to get a clean chart. Now, looking at this on the Aussie dollar, it's a little bit weird to see it trying to push back up, given that we're expecting the dollar to push up as well. Okay, so what I'm seeing here is a bit of this. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, and then I'm looking for it to break, to test that neckline and then break lower that way. Okay, so that support level, it made, check the H4, it made sense there, but let's catch a more relevant level. Back to the H1. Let's catch a more relevant level at that point being the resistance. All right, 6940, a good resistance level. We have a head and a possible head and shoulder pattern here forming. It looks like it's trying to form that right shoulder. Needs to come up a little bit, test and reject back down. The neckline would be at about 6880. I would like that, I would consider that as much as there's a neckline, that whole thing is a neck area. Think of it as a thick neck. So I would only be looking to sell down if it breaks below 6870 at that point, right? So you're looking at 6865, very tight. No, let's go a little bit lower. 6860. Stop loss would be 20 pips. Take profit could be 40 to the downside towards that 38.2 and that support level, that swing level there. You could actually go a little bit earlier. I think there's a lot of space here. 685, 6865, 20. No. I'll give it that space. 6860, 20 to 40 to the downside. Okay, so 6860, stop loss 20, take profit 40. We have a forming head and shoulder pattern. Not formed yet, it's still forming. If it breaks above that 69 level, 0.69 level, not a head and shoulder pattern already, then you look for it to test that resistance for that possible. So if it goes up this way, then you look for it to test that resistance to come back down again. Okay? I'm doing fantastic, Lingopedia. Thank you for asking. Markets are treating me very well. Okay, now that's good. Then we'll look at the pound dollar. Right, pound dollar did very well. It didn't test the resistance again before coming back down, but pretty much right after our session, it started pushing to the downside. Right, it started pushing to the downside. You had a 36 pip profit there. You could have gone as low as a 90, almost 100 pip profit to the downside on the pound dollar. We'll take that away. Then, now, we don't need that. That's all broken. Trend line is broken, well and truly broken. Zoom right out. You see that 38.2 was somewhat of a level that it found. Let me see this support level. That line is too long ago. We'll take that one away. Let me check the daily, sorry. Took that one away. Okay, we'll put this one back here. Okay, we'll go back to the hourly. So main thing is you always want your lines to be relevant, right? It's when it was trading right up, I was casting way back to try and find relevant levels. But now that we have more recent levels, then you want to keep it as recent as you can. So that's a good resistance level there. We'll have that. We'll take away that. We have 38.2, which is where it's resting on right now. Okay, so it's right there. Taking away 50 because it doesn't look very strong. We have 61.8 down here. So now as it dropped yesterday, showing a little bit of a retrace, or showed a bit of a retrace and then a consolidation. What we're looking for from here is a might and could and might. Wait a minute. What's going on? Could and might is broken. 23. It could come back up to this point and at 38.2. So I'm looking at those two levels there, that level there. I'm looking for it to possibly test and then reject back down. I know that you might want to be selling at that point. You can. I would prefer to see it come back down, then look to sell it down. I would be looking at 1.3250 Stop loss will be very tight, no more than 20 pips. Take profit could go right back down to the 61.8, almost 90 pips to the downside on the pound dollar. Okay, but it needs to come down and break that 38.2 level. In fact, I might go a little bit lower. 1.3240, 30 to 80 to the downside. I want it to break below that area there. Okay, so sell 1.32. Hang on, let me think again. 1.3290, 1.3240. That's fine. Okay, 1.3240. Stop loss 30. Take profit 80 to the downside. Right. So one of the things why I was considering was that if it does come down all the way here, could it continue lower? I think it's currently at 1.3290. Not unreasonable for it to break and hit lower again. So that's fine. Now on to the euro dollar. Popped lower, didn't bounce before hitting lower again. So we'll take that. That could have worked out nicely as well. Now with that, then you see it consolidating below that 61. So we'll take that away. Highlight this low point here. Let's see. That's a good, again, I want to update those levels. I mean, usually I would have updated this before the session, but I just want to highlight to you guys why you need to update those levels as well. So we do it live on the session. Now looking at this from the big move up is on H4, so just so that I can see everything. Okay, what if I did this move up? Okay, 38.2 will be right there. And okay, so now back to the H1 time frame. Show you that. So from this bottom here, 26th of June, where it started pushing up and up to the top at 1.12, it tested, it came back down to the 38.2 level. It bounced back up to 1.12. If you look at it on H4 especially, we have a double top, a bit of a double top forming or formed. The valley or the neckline or the bottom of that to form that double top is here at this 38.2 level. Okay. And then 61.8 is right there. So what I'm looking at here on the euro dollar, if I consider this move down, $38.2 is there, that makes sense. Don't need 61. Checking 23. Pretty much down, consolidate. Looking at the consolidation, looking for it to push lower. If you look to sell this down from here, there's not a lot of space. There's a 40 pip move to the downside. So you could be looking at that. I think you should only be looking at that first because we've seen a big reaction at this point here. Although we are expecting some weakness onto the euro because of the rate decision, likely rate decision. If the euro dollar fails to break above 1.1080, we'll see it trade lower, back down. No, I think it could go up to about it needs to stay below this point. It needs to stay below 1.11. Right? It needs to stay below 1.11. I think anywhere in there, I wouldn't do anything. So what's likely is it will come back, it will consolidate here or push up slightly before turning back down again. 1.1045. Sell 1.1045. Stop loss 20, take profit 40 to the downside. Okay, does that make sense to you all? Put it into the chat and let me know. I just realized I can do this again. There we go. Let's see whether that works. There we go. Gifted 5 membership out to you guys. It's not, bear in mind, it's not the elite navigator membership. It's the other one. It's the Market Explorer. So you do have that little icon there, but if you want to get onto the live streams, the private live streams, you need to be as a elite navigator. Okay, now with this, then we look at the US yen. All right, so Michael Dollar, Amit Kumar, Yoki KTT, and some other nickname, and Stefan was just given a Market Explorer membership for a month, if I'm not wrong. Okay, that was randomly selected by YouTube, it's not by me. Now, with that, looking at the US yen, and since I can give it away, I might as well do it, right? Okay, looking at the US yen, I was looking for it to zig and zag to push up. It hasn't pushed up yet. It's came down. Again, like I said, because of the slight move towards reserve on the yen currency, right? So it's pushed down slightly, but what you will notice is that it stayed at that 38.2 level. Right? So we had that inverted head and shoulder that we saw push up. We'll take that one away. That's done. Now it's pushed up and it's sitting right across. Could look at some pattern there. What I'm looking at is that point. So I'm almost having too many lines on the yen. So we'll move that away. Okay. So it's going to stay in this range. Dollar strength, looking for it to push up. Some move towards reserve is going to hold the yen back slightly, but what I'm looking for is that it breaks above 1.4460 and trades higher. So you'll be looking at 1.4480. Stop loss would be tight, around 40 pips. Take profit, you go up to 145 to the upside. Okay. So yen, it's ranging. It could continue ranging. Break by 144.80. Could you do a little bit nearer? Let me see. No, I'll do 40. 144.80, 40 to 145 to the upside. I don't want to think, hang on, 144.80, stop loss 40, take profit, very optimistic to be looking for 145. Let me think again. We're seeing that channel. If we extended this, H4, it'd be easier to draw that channel. If we extended this channel out, it would be about there. It would be about there. So that's fine. At the maybe you see 120 to the upside. Okay, one stop loss 40, take profit 120 to the upside. Right. So now with all that Kiwi, Aussie, we've done that, pound, we've done that, euro, we've done that, yen, we've done. Now looking at this, it did well on the euro yen as it came down. This was right after our session there, right? Right after our session, it broke, still didn't get in. As it broke below that 50, it traded down to that previous swing low before pushing back up again. Had a small trade on the euro yen to the downside, so that worked out perfectly. Let me know if you did get onto the euro yen as well. I know you did. I know we're going to look at the Aussie yen and also the Aussie Swiss franc, but yeah, I was super happy with the euro yen. Let me know if you did that. Now that it's found that bottom, and now that it looks like it might push up, right? Consider the euro dollar sitting there and possibly trading up a little bit before coming back down. The US yen possibly pushing up. Looking at the euro yen, what I'll be looking for, nothing right now. Nothing right now, but I am going to be looking for it to push up towards that 161 level around there before possibly coming back down again. Okay, why I wouldn't do anything here is just because it's in that middle area. You could be looking for something like that 70 to 100. I wouldn't be too happy in that middle range, so I'll let it trade up. I'll look for a reaction at this point here at that 161 level. Look for rejection to sell it back down again. Then that would be a good trade. That would look something like 160.50. Stop loss would be about 60. Take profit would be about 200 to the downside. But not right now. Need some patience. Need to wait for it to let it set up. Okay. Then this was one that I was super happy with. Pound yen. Right. So did the euro yen and pound yen did the same thing. This was right after our session. It broke. It traded lower, 38.2, broken at 4, and then got into that trade just before I left. Or not just before, almost just before I left the office. It sat there for a while. It pushed back up. I thought, nah, not doing too great. Before the next moment, it comes right down. I think I closed out about 190.50 around there. Also because you see, it came down outside the Bollinger. I didn't catch that moment. Then the next moment it comes back down outside of the Bollinger, formed a bit of a doji. Time to get out, right? Time to get out. As it tested once and twice outside the Bollinger, I thought that the next moment it was going to come right back up. So got off that trade. I highlighted that to you guys on the Discord channel that I did think there was going to be a little bit more downside. It did come down to 190, the round number level, which was also where we saw the previous swing level on the 30th of September or Monday, right? Before it pushed back up again. Now, take all of that away. That was the past. That was a trade done. That was the past. Now, we know that 50 is holding quite well. That's pushed up. That's come down. 61 is there. I would maintain that same view that we had from the euro yen. Could trade up, but I'll look for it to come back down. Same thing. Could trade up, but I'll look for it to come back down. Or I'll look for reaction right up there at 193.50 along that 61.8 level right there. So this is what I'm looking for. push up, test, and then in that area, again, you could buy it up. If you're a little bit more aggressive, you could buy it up towards that resistance. I'm not. I would be more happy to buy the yen up than wait for this to react to that point and possibly push back down. On the pound yen, I'll look for a reaction at that 193.50 level, that 61.8 FIB retracement level. Okay, all good. Do put into chat and let me know. Hey, remember, if you're trading well based on what we've been sharing with you, please remember, put it into the chat. And don't forget to click on that thumbs up button. A lot of people watching, not a lot of people clicking. Get into the habit. When you click trades, you got to click the thumbs up button as well. All right. Then now on to the yen, to the CAD, onto the Swiss franc, the CAD, and gold. Then we'll look at Aussie yen and Aussie Swiss franc, and also a quick recap on the Euro CAD. Okay. Now on to the US Swiss franc. You're most welcome there, Richard. It's pushed up. That was continue higher low for reaction. So that was something we didn't take away. So this was yesterday. We're looking for it to continue higher to trade up. It didn't push up further, but it came down, bounced up. It had a lot of volatility in this area. And at 9 o'clock, I don't usually look at the Swiss franc. So at 9 o'clock, we saw a little bit of a move on the dollar, but yet we saw a big retrace on the Swissy. Now it's sitting in there. It could trade up. I will still maintain that view that it should trade up, or it could trade up to 8515. But let me think. Because we're going to be looking at the Aussie Swiss and the Euro Aussie Swiss, we're going to get a better idea of what's happening here. It needs to break above 8480 to trade up to 8520. There is a little bit of upside, but it needs to break past this point. It's choppy. US Swiss franc is sitting in this range only if it breaks above 8480. It could trade slightly to the upside. Tomorrow is Swiss news. Yeah, it's the CPI number tomorrow from the Swiss, but it's a month-to-month number. They've already done their rate cut at a minus 0.1. It could spur, but remember the last time when they did cut rates, we didn't see that Swiss franc strength come back into play. I would stay a little bit cautious on this just because there seems to be a downside pressure. What you could actually be looking out for as a bit of a counterintuitive move or counter trend move is that back down. Right, to test that trend line and push back down, you might be looking at 8470 stop loss, because I don't really like it that much. Tight stop at 15, take profit, you look at 60 to the downside, 50 to 55 to the downside, that way. All right, so that's what I'll rank that very low though. I would rank that very low. US Swiss franc, we look to sell at 0.8470, stop loss 15, take profit 55 to the downside. Then test reject. Okay. US CAD, the loony means, right? Didn't push up, trend line broken, take that away. Remember that we have OPEC meetings for today. We have oil inventories for today as well, which anticipating it could go down from minus 4.5 to minus 1.5. Actually, there's not less inventories from what I said earlier. There's actually less of a shortfall on inventories, which I'm looking at this. Thank you so much, Noachuku. I really appreciate that. You see that 61.8. So what I'm actually thinking here on the US CAD is that it might trade down slightly. It might try and trap some moves to the downside. I'm anticipating that it could come down, and then we look for that to push back up that way, right? So if that happens, then you'll be looking at about 1.3475. Stop loss would be about 20. Take profit will be about 60 to the upside. 1.34. 1.3475. Stop loss 20. Take profit 60 to the upside. 1.3475. Yes, okay. Super. Then on to gold. Look at that. We talked about this just at the start where it was pushing down. I had a quick scalp. I was just about to go for lunch and I thought, gold is pushing down, right? It was, I think I'll show you the 5-minute time frame. It was trying that move to the downside. I got in at 2652. Went out, popped out for lunch, got it back, came back, and I closed out at 264650. So about that point there. So very quick trade, in and out on gold to the downside. Okay. So that was within that couple of minutes. Now that it's pushed down and is pushing back up again. Lingopedia says gold seems to be, to me, oscillating in a triangle on H4, making lower highs and higher lows. H4, lower highs, yes. Higher lows. Let me do that. Yes. I see that. I see that as well. So there are two of that you can be considering. All right. I want to consider that. Okay. So yes, I agree with you, Lingopedia, on that. Which is also why once it pops down, I'm not looking for big moves on gold at this point. I am thinking there is going to be a bit more upside because of that move towards reserve, because of the uncertainty, the concerns over the global conflict. So it does look like it's pushing up. And if you look at this, it was up. Now it's squeezing. It could pop up again. By the way, have you checked out my analysis on gold? It was a short video. I think, or rather during the video, I was talking about it possibly getting to 2,800 and even 3,000 a bit far away at this point. But the last time I spoke about 27.20, almost got there. Okay, so on gold now, that one's done. We don't need that. We have 38.2 there. We have, well, just earlier I was saying, can it break 38.2? It broke that 38.2. It came down to the 50 and it's looking like it's bouncing. Now gold pushing back up, currently at 26.55, could trade up to 26.65. Okay, so first off is gold could trade up to 26.65. Needs to break trend line to trade up to 26.8. I don't see that happening straight away. So gold trade up to 26.65. Could test, reject, and then push back up. But for the first move, for what I can see, I think it will just come up to this level first. Okay. Could be held briefly at a long bearish trend line. Okay, there we go. That's the set of analysis. Now let's look at Aussie yen. Right, Casper was asking about Aussie yen. It's nearing the 100 mark again soon. Yes, it's pushing up. Yen is pushing higher. We've seen that. We've seen that. From that move, it came up to 61.8. It didn't break lower. Trading up. I know that, but I want to catch this point here. We don't need all that. Okay, borrow that line and show that as a support to the upside. Now, what you want to see is that Aussie dollar could push up a little bit more before turning back down, or sit around there, form that shoulder and push to the downside. US yen has a little bit of a move to the upside, all dependent on what happens right at the top there. So on the Aussie yen, I would say that, again, remember this is a relatively high point. Don't need any of that actually. That's all done. All right, so I'm looking at this and I'm thinking that it could push up, but what I'm looking for is a test 100, test this, and then do that again. So what I would be looking for in this case would be a reaction at 100. It's currently at 99.30. Could push up a little bit more. Well, could bounce around here, but I'm looking at push up test 100. You could look to sell down and then have that range. You sell it down, bounce, and buy it back up. All right. Hope I align with what you're thinking there, Casper. I just saw this. Hey, Benjamin, how are you doing from Dubai? Good to have you with us. I'll see you soon in Dubai as well, Benjamin Optina. All right. Then on to the Aussie. Wait. Aussie Swiss franc. I don't have that. Aussie Kiwi, Aussie Cat. Okay. Diana's making me look at different pairs again. Aussie Swiss. All good. Just joking. Aussie Swiss franc. We looked at this a long time ago. I looked at this a long time ago. Clear it out for now. It's in that range. It's sitting there. Remember that we were thinking the Swiss franc could push down a bit. Aussie could push down a bit. So I'm thinking that it might come back down to this trend line. I don't think it's worth trying to do that. Now let's see this as a channel. Okay, so it tested bounce. So now what I will be looking for on the Aussie Swiss, remember again, is that upward channel. So possibly test a bit lower and then back up to the top of that channel. Although Aussie could weaken, Swizzy could weaken as well. No, could strengthen, so that's going to push down. You're looking at that level here. 5810. I think it could come down to about 58. About 58. I don't think I get to 5800. I think I know Dinah's possibly looking for 5800. Oh no, looking to short 5837. I think it's going to be tricky to short. Based on what I see on the Aussie and what I see on the US Swiss franc, I think there is that capacity to short it down. But looking at the Aussie Swiss franc here and how it's in this channel, I feel like any downside could be very brief. Right? If you're looking at 5837, then 5837 will be there. You're looking for it to do that. Look for it to push down towards 5814, possibly. Maybe even down to 5800. Then we could see it push back up again. Possibly something like that. Okay. Casper, how are you doing? Aussie Swiss franc, I'm waiting for it to break 5820 and close below before shorting or around that. Yeah. Just be very careful if you're shorting on the Aussie Swiss, that I feel in this area, that's what you're trying to catch. Oh, these two areas. So for Dinah, if it pushes up, you're trying to catch this 1 and 2 here. If you're looking for it to break 5820 at that point, then you're trying to catch this area. I could be entirely wrong. Not a pair that I trade at all, but I feel like 58 might be that round number where we've seen it test and bounce once, twice, 3 times as well. So it could come back down to this point and just bounce again. So just watch out for that. Okay. Then on to the Euro Swiss, was it Euro Swiss? Euro CAD. Right, we talked about the Euro CAD. Again, I missed this. Dinah is trying to make me look at more pairs, but it's just not in my habit. I need to get into the groove of looking at more currency pairs. It broke that trend line. It didn't zig, it didn't zag. It just went straight through, down from that 1.5 level all the way down to 1.4920 or 15. So a very good move to the downside. I'm glad you caught that, Dinah. And now that it's sitting just above that point, what we could be looking at is a retracement back up. But after such a big drop, give it a rest. I would say that it's possibly not worth trying to catch that retrace. It's trying to form a new bias again, right? And that's a good strong level that is bounced off once and twice from. So we might look at it later, but for now, nothing on the Euro CAD. All right. Hope you've all been trading well, trading good. Hope you've been enjoying the sessions that we've been doing. Big reminder again, next week, Friday will be the last one for the week. Next week, no live streams because what's going to happen is that I will be in the UAE, right? I'll be in the UAE. We do have a number of you from the UAE now on the live stream already. So again, the link for the session is in the chat. If you are in the UAE, do click on that link. Come join me for this 3-hour session. I love to have you with me. Love to meet up and catch up. Put a face to the name, and we'll take it from there. Okay, again, I'm looking at the wrong camera. We'll take it from there. So link is there. And if you have any friends or family, do register them, get them to come along with you as well. It is free to join. I look forward to seeing you all there. Please trade well, trade safe, and I'll see you all tomorrow. We're still here tomorrow, so I'll see you all tomorrow. Take care now. Bye-bye.